Mage Meadowbrook, Magnus, a true friend, by Siege Down. After some time that Mage Meadowbrook had returned back to Equestria from being in limbo for a millennia, she had been not very much trouble to adapt to this new world. But there was just one thing that she wanted to do first of all. After she had defeated the pony of shadows, was going back home. She was surprised to find out that her home was still there and that her descendant, Cattail, had been taken care of their ancestral home. And she decided to open her clinic once again to help creatures and ponies alike after that being gone so long. And at first, she didn't have much customers at first. She only think first of all take care of the animals in the area. Because the legend about Mage Meadowbrook brought just like a legend, a story that had been passed down from generation to generation. Most ponies in Equestria by now only believed that Mage Meadowbrook was only a legend, never be a real pony. But after she actually left her home and went around in her hometown and beyond that in her neighbor towns, ponies then actually believed that Mage Meadowbrook was actually a real pony, based on the legend itself. And from that moment, she had more ponies to get to her home, asking for help for medical suggestions, cures, herbs, teas, anything that could help them. And Mage was actually just very happy to see how much about her home and her experience and her need was really needful. And of course, after some time, she actually had some of her old friends visit her. The first to visit her was actually Starsmo. He was impressed to see how much of her clinic had been expanded over the past few months after they had came back. But just one of the other of those old visitors was actually Flash Magnus. Flash had told Mage that he had become the new captain of the Royal Guard in Cantlot after that the Royal Legion was long gone. But after some time that Flash actually spent some time with Mage Meadowbrook, they were actually very good friends even long before they arrived back in Equestria in the modern world. For a millennia ago, Mage and Flash was actually very good friends. More than just good friends, was actually best friends. After that, they had managed to defeat the Sirens the first time, and many other villains they had encountered. Mage actually traveled around in Equestria. Sometimes you had a company with Flash, for at least for some protection, and at least on some traveling company. But it wasn't that all the time. But after that, she found out that Stygian has stolen all the artifacts into what they believe that he was going to use them to be a very powerful. But she later on regret her decision afterwards. But Flash, he can actually notice how much pain Mage had been suffering for after him coming back to the quest. After that, her decision about turning on Stygian's back behind him, it hurt her so much. Even that he has been reformed and even brought back to his friends again, but at the same time, he was just really unbelievable hurt. Even she was hurt. But they managed to figure out this complication and became friends again. But it was happened that Mage actually had some hard times sometimes. But it was just one thing that she had the most hard time. It was actually when she was missing something important in her life. And that was something, a special some pony. She had not been on dating for 1,000 years. So she asked some of her friends. She asked Miss Vane, but Miss Vane said only look into the beauty inside of the pony's heart, not as an appearance. And Nebula said to Mage only look for the good goodness in the pony's heart, and this good personality. Rockcookie said that she was just looking for someone who's strong, brave, and loyal, which also seems to be very good advice. But there was just one pony that she asked for most of help was actually Flash. But this time he was actually dating a mare in Canterlot. It seems they were going quite well over time, and she asked him for some advice what to do, and of course, she suddenly then she found a stallion from Maidhaven. But turns out this relationship didn't work out so well because long days of traveling, and he didn't want to travel so much just to be with her. He tried to convince her to stay in Maidhaven, but it didn't work out. But then she actually found another stallion in her home village, and it worked so well. And this particular pony was actually a doctor, like her. He had actually been living, he grew up in Trottingham, but moved to Mage home village because after he found out that she had been returning, he wanted to help to at least modernize her whole village, to building more a new school, building some stores for people and for opponents there, and even better hospital and better supplies for the people and the opponents. After some time, they actually start dating, but she was still a bit curious how and even more scared that this relationship will also fail soon after her first one. But with some help from Flash and her and his girlfriend, they actually went on a double date in Canterlot for a few times. And from what Flash said to Mage that seems to be going well between her and her boyfriend, and she agrees. But she still has some fear that this relationship won't work out. But with Flash confidence and even strong personality, his smiles always cheer her up, and even told her just take one day at a time. And of course, this relationship did actually work out. Within a few years, Mage and her boyfriend actually became married. But then it happened that he had to go move back to Trottingham for some time. There was some lack of doctors in Trottingham, and since he used to work there, had been recalled. But he said that that was only a temporary solution because he's going to be going back soon, and he did. But during the time he was spending away for nearly 6 to 8 months, they only write letters back and forth to each other. But that was the only thing that they actually spoke. Perhaps they saw each other at least once after 6 months. But Mage had something more great news for him. She was pregnant with their own first baby. And he was so excited to be a father, but unfortunately he couldn't be much there for her. Even he wished to be there, but his work kept his very tight schedule. He had to work many night shifts and many morning shifts, and afterwards he was so tired from traveling back, and so he couldn't go back. But then he actually had asked Flash to Magnus if he could be there for her even although that they lived so far away from each other. And Flash said since Mage is actually an old friend of him, of course he was staying in there. And at the same time, Flash Magnus was also been married for about 2 years, and of course he also had his own family by now. He had at least 2 sons and 1 daughter. But he told his wife that he will be traveling back and forth between Mage's home village and Candelot to check up on her from time to time. And of course his wife had no much problem with that. And of course Mage was actually happy to see this, that Flash actually come up to check on upon her from time to time. But during the last few months, the last few weeks of the pregnancy, Flash decided to stay in her home because it was so close now until the arrival of the baby. And of course, her husband couldn't be there. But then, only a few days after the village doctor had said that the baby will come within a few days. And of course, when the day came, Flash was already there, helping her with the village doctor, and the baby was born. It took nearly 2 weeks later when Mage's husband came back, finding out that he had become a father to a son. And of course, he couldn't believe that he was actually a father now to a boy. And of course, he thanked Flash for all the support and help that he had been doing to his wife during this time. And even Mage couldn't even be more happier for her friend's help. And also, she and her husband actually named Flash Magnus to their son's godfather. In Flash, he felt a great honor to be the godfather. And that's how Mage Meadowbrook and Flash Magnus became good friends. A true love, the end.